Good morning, ambitious parents. Welcome to our weekly live show. If you're joining us for the first time, these live shows take place every Friday, generally at 9:45 Mountain Standard Time or 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm streaming here in our Facebook group and on Instagram. And in our Facebook group, this is where most of the interactions happen, but I'm always glad to see people joining us on Instagram as well. So today we're talking about 3 things that families do to have a fun and restful vacation. And if you're joining us here, whether you're on our team or our viewers, please type in and say hello in the comments so that I can say back to you. So during our Pros and Babes live show, we focus on a number of topics that relate to you, an ambitious mom or dad looking for ways to navigate and transform into the role of the successful working parent and happy working parent. And so we talk to moms who are pregnant, moms who are on mat leave, and dads who are on parental leave, and working moms. Ultimately, our content is designed for you. And of course, please be in touch with our team about topics that are important to you as well. I love seeing all the new members that join the group. So if this is the first time you're joining us here, welcome. I'm so glad to see your interest and your comments during each of these live shows. And most of them are about 30 minutes in length. I know that your little ones require a lot of attention, so it's totally understandable if you have to step away at any time. And this show will be recorded and reposted. So if you miss anything here, you can catch up when the time is right. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kina Romanowska. I'm a mom of 2, and I'm the CEO here at Pros&Babes, where we help ambitious moms on maternity leave and beyond align their goals and ambitions with their role as a mother to successfully gain the right mindset, skills, control, and organization for working motherhood, as well as the confidence to know that their careers are protected during their maternity leave. So again, our resources and programs are addressed to pregnant moms, moms on mat leave, dads on parental leave, and working parents. Okay, and we have a wonderful team all over Canada, mostly in Eastern Canada too, 6 of them that are here and supporting us on this journey to develop those resources for you. So I see a couple of people have joined us on Instagram. I'm kind of sideways. Kasha's saying hello. Thank you. It's good to see you. And today we are talking about 3 things that parents do to have restful vacations and fun vacations. And it all starts with some good planning. So I don't know if I have anybody who's joined on Facebook, you can say hello. I'd like to see who's there, even if it's people from our team. Maybe you were sleeping in today. To give you a little bit of context, I was a self-proclaimed travel addict. So I've traveled a lot, especially in my youth, in all sorts of types of circumstances, whether with a backpack or in more comfortable places. And we also traveled with my family. So I think I've been to about 42 countries, and to say that I love traveling is an understatement, but it is a season of our lives where that looks somewhat different. So if you are travelers, please tell me in the comments. I don't know if there are any comments coming in. I see people popping in, but I don't see anything in the comments if it's maybe lagged. So one of the main things I will do, I'll talk about, is identifying what you need from a vacation early on. That's one of my key takeaways. And if someone from my team can post right now, what do you need from a vacation in this season of life? It's very important to ask that question. Is it rest? Is it adventure? Is it disconnecting from responsibilities? Is it traveling somewhere far away and exotic, restoring your health and sleep? Is it quiet? Or do you need childcare? Right? So I'll post that to any of you and I'll repeat it. And I would like to know, what do you feel you need a vacation from a vacation at this stage of your life? Okay, tell me what it is that fills your cup, because it's the starting point for having a good vacation. And I'll give you an anecdote about some of our vacations we've had as a family. Hi, Yumna, I see you've joined us on Instagram. So we've 2 of our family vacations with our first son, and then when I was pregnant, one of them was in the US, where we took an airplane and we went to Seattle, and then another summer we went camping and also staying with friends in a lake community. And they were pretty intensive vacations, and I have to say that I did not plan them with rest in mind. We planned them in terms of fun and visiting friends and seeing people we loved, and everything else was kind of secondary. Good morning, Jasmine. Yay, travel lover here, right? Excellent. So I was asking about what you need from a vacation at the season of life. And so when we traveled to the US with a almost 1 year old and camping when I was pregnant and a 2 year old, we didn't really consider whether rest or quiet was important. We just wanted to see friends, to have fun, to enjoy a lake community. But it turns out that at the end of the vacation, we actually did not feel rested at all. Like we had some fun memories, but there were so many things that happen in terms of health and climate, and even somebody in our family getting a heat stroke, and we were in remote places with limited access to childcare. And so after that vacation, we kind of resolved to take a different approach and plan really, really, really in advance. So my first tip for you is to make vacation part of your strategic planning and really identify what you need at the season of your life. We decided, this summer we were going to actually go abroad in a different time zone to a European country that I really wanted to spend time in with my own parents. And thank goodness, given the circumstances, that we didn't. I don't know, a lot of things happened that we didn't, but we reflected on the price tag. We reflected on our values, what we wanted. And after considering how much a plane trip would do to our sense of well-being and the time change and lugging luggage around and gear, not being able to maybe be outside while the kids are sleeping, depending on where we had to find a place, or having a proper bedroom layout, or the time zone changes, or having to rent a car, and all of that in the end deterred us from traveling abroad, because we thought that it won't give us the rest we need. As much as it was a location that we love, it's Croatia, somewhere I had been many times, we decided that actually we wanted to stay in the same time zone. So 8 months ago, we found an isolated cabin with a private beach. We booked it in the fall, and I'm so glad we did, given the circumstances, because actually we're still able to head there. So, and that was after a big reflection on our values and what we need in this season, and kind of some of the sacrifices we were able to make it work. And I'm so glad that we discerned in that way, right? So I asked earlier this week what others have said about having restful and memorable vacations. So Hiba told us that she took a long road trip for the first time, and the quality time in the car was the highlight for me. And same, road trips that I've taken remind me of memories with my husband, and listening to audiobooks and beautiful landscapes and music, and just kind of disconnecting from the routine. So if you haven't commented already in our Facebook group, please let me know where you had a memorable vacation. And Jill is here. You said you're in Canmore with your first little adventure with your 3-year-old, and you're heading to Toronto to see family in a month. So it's going to be her first flight. So you're big travelers, and you're hoping to do a month in Costa Rica. Lovely. That looks like a lot of fun. Thanks for sharing. Costa Rica is such a nice country. And we did research a couple of articles on traveling during COVID times, if you have to take the airplane. I'm sure you've done the research as well, but we'll share. We also had a member talking about going camping for the first time with the little ones. So much fun and so little sleep and some laughter. And then somebody talked about underscheduling activities, actually planning 0 activities, no tourist destinations or specific museums, just being together, ordering takeout and going with the flow. So definitely that's a change for some. And then Jacqueline talked about being in Berlin, and they decided really to make the trip about their son. So they took him to child-friendly museums and restaurants, and they had truly a lot of fun. It was a special experience. So, yeah, so a very intentional vacation too, right? Then Emily talked about taking their son to meet his great-grandparents. Yes, that's also a beautiful experience. And then Lorena enjoying time with family time in Colombia. And Emily, I relate to that. I traveled with my 3-month-old first son by myself to Europe so that his great grandparents could see it. And it was the most exhausting trip in my life, carrying him for 7 hours during a layover in Amsterdam at 6 a.m. for a 24-hour trip. But I'm really glad that he got to see his great-grandparents. So the intention, I sacrificed my health in the end, because after that I was quite sick after that trip, but the intent was really to see family, and that's something that will be precious to me forever, because since then, not all of his great-grandparents are here with us. So Yumna, you're saying you drove up to Vancouver by car with your 13-month-old, and it was so beautiful. Yeah, at least staying in similar time zones or close by. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So my first tip was really, again, talking about what do you really need in the season of life, right? We really need different things with little kids. We might travel differently. We might think that we still really want to indulge in an adventure. We really want to have an adventurous vacation. Or you might think that rest and having childcare on hand and being able to have some dates with your partner is important. So have that reflection first and try to plan it in advance. As I said, we thought about our summer vacation 8 months in advance this time around, based on our last experience that we had.
Okay, so let me know. Let me know. We fortunately had to go to Edmonton. Yes, so you're saying that was a short trip. Good for you. And Stats got to meet him then too. I'm not sure if I understood the spelling there, but it sounds like you did have a fun trip to meet family. So, okay, another question for you is a reflection on planning in the big picture in mind and like in your big budget in mind. So, in the season of life, would you rather spend $5,000 on vacationing or $5,000 on help in your day-to-day life? Would you rather take one long vacation or a few short getaways? Or would you rather go on a trip with your partner only, go with the whole family, go alone, go with girlfriends? Oh, okay, Anastasia, I see. That's wonderful. Yeah, so what is really important to you? When we go back to work after maternity leave, maybe we don't want to take a really long vacation. Maybe it's taking one Friday off every month for that micro care and that micro self care and just incorporating that rest into your day-to-day experiences, right? So that's a good reflection to have as well in terms of how you spend your money and how you plan your time. So I'm curious to know, what do you think you need at this stage of life? Would you rather spend $5,000 on vacationing or $5,000 on help in your day-to-day life and kind of outsourcing? I talk about you want all of them. Yeah. We want all of them, right? Well, then put that on your vision board and maybe you can have all of it. Sometimes it's just clear to know what you can do in the moment and what is affordable. But if everything is affordable to you, then all power to you. I know that you work with financial planning. So I believe that if you're really intentional and you plan in advance, then maybe you can have it all truly, right? If you're really, really specific and you know how you spend your money. But if you had to choose between the both, what would you choose? Would you take one long vacation or a few short getaways or both? And do you have some special getaway planned with your partner, something to do with your whole family, you know, go alone or go with girlfriends? Apparently going on a girls trip is really, really good for your health and your longevity. You know, people post that from time to time. So that's the second tip. Think about whether we budget sometimes $5,000 for a vacation with a family, that it can cost all of that, right? It can cost that amount if you're planning with family, if you're taking an airplane and all the food and the insurance. So is it worth spending it on 1 week where you're going to have to rest from your vacation when you need a vacation from your vacation? Or is it more worth in the season of life when the kids are tiny to spend that money on support throughout the year, right? So Kristen, you're saying multiple short vacations would be your choice, a few short getaways for you too. And Yumna, I saw up there, you say for short vacations, I went on a vacation for 3 to 4 months in Pakistan and just couldn't wait for the vacation to end. Yeah, sometimes it can be like that. You just crave like your home and the way to prepare your own food and your own kitchen and have your own bed and your own sheets and your own shower. So that's a good reflection to have also that I encourage. The first one was really identifying what you need in this stage of life, and the second one is prioritizing what do you really need, how do you want to spend the money. And then a couple of packing and planning hacks for families. So there's a few that would include some tips for traveling during COVID. Now, I'm not making recommendations whether you should or shouldn't do that. Those are very personal decisions that you may want to take with also public health in mind and whatever recommendations are in your province. But it's an interesting resource that we found, so I will post it in the chat. And a couple of tricks too from HBR. So I will end today's show because you know we love Harvard Business Review. And I'll talk about how to make sure that how to minimize stress before and after vacation. So Jasmine is saying at this point I lean more for R&R time with childcare for hubby and I to have some couples time. I love that. Yeah, I'm definitely in line with that. And Emily, with a baby, 2 short getaways, likely to somewhere with family so we can also have some date time. Yep, that's excellent. So I posted a couple of tips traveling with kids during COVID, and then 10 tips for making family vacations great. And I will also now go into the Harvard Business Review article about how to minimize stress before and after vacation. Lots of really good tips. It's not a short article, but I think it's worth a read, and I'll post it after. So here, you know, in the introduction, they say it's a catch 22 millions of workers face, and it's obviously targeted a little bit more towards American workers.
And I don't see my water bottle. I guess I'll hydrate after our show here. But you plan a vacation to relax, rejuvenate, and forget all about the stresses of work. But being out of the office means cramming in extra work up until you leave and making up for lost time once you return. So perhaps it's a little surprise that a study in the Netherlands found vacationers are no happier than non-vacationers after a break. And this problem obviously can be pretty acute in the United States, right? So where the culture often pressures people not to take vacation at all. So the United States is a very specific place. And for many people, taking vacation can actually be a source of anxiety. Somebody says that in the past 2 weeks, I've worked 24 hours at least, extra 24 hours. So preparing for time away, right? And I'll just jump off that for a second. Kristen, you say you're part of an amazing family travel group called Club Bébé Voyage for anyone who is looking for more travel hacks. Love it. Thank you for sharing. I'm sure women will look at that in our group. So I'm continuing with the article. In Harvard Business Review, they say that much of the groundwork for a lower stress return from vacation happens before you even leave the office. So building relaxation into your routine. You don't have to put off letting go of stress until vacation. That's a really good tip. Take a few minutes to meditate every day. I've time blocked it in my calendar for the next 3 months, so I can stop procrastinating on it and actually do it when my kids are sleeping. Even though I feel like I never have time, I decide I have to make time for meditation. So, as vacation gets closer, try to visualize what it will be like. And I'm a big fan of visualizations. Then prioritize a few weeks before your vacation. Make a list of the tasks that absolutely must be done before you go. Show it to your manager and get their feedback. And then set priorities and plan your work for each day. So they say, notice that they write a few weeks before. Don't wait until the week of your vacation to do this. If you're taking a week off, start at least 2 weeks earlier. If you're taking 2 weeks off, start prioritizing a month before you go. Then spread the word. What I often did in my corporate job was to put a notice a few weeks before that I would be away on my vacation and start planning really early. So that also sets the tone, especially if you're in a senior position. It sets the tone to people that you worry, that you value that time off, right? And not worrying that being out of reach will damage relationships. Establishing a handoff who's going to be covering for you is also a pretty straightforward tip that many of you will notice. Straightening up your desk. Clutter can increase stress, so having a neater environment to come back to will help ease your return from vacation. And even planning some meetings after you come back, and planning them a couple of days after you come back from vacation, and keeping 1 or 2 days off to just kind of catch up on everything. Making sure you compose your out of office message. And then during the vacation, set an intention. So we talked about it at the beginning of our show. Many people are goal-oriented at work. Try applying that same skill to your vacation. Decide what you will focus on. If you want to feel more joyful, energized, or calm, and then plan the resources accordingly, especially in terms of childcare, to be able to have a date night with your partner. Then really unplug. Somebody yesterday told me about deleting the mailing app on your phone while you're gone so that you're not tempted to check, or deleting social media apps so you're not tempted to check. And then immerse yourself. Take walks through nature, notice the sound, smell the fresh air, swim in a lake, go to a spa. The client of the person who wrote this says that those who do actually really do that, engage their senses and immerse themselves, end up feeling much more relaxed at the end of the vacation. And the author is a mom of 3, so she says that it can sound easier than it is, but this is why she encourages planning these things in advance. Just as I encourage visualizing your ideal vacation in 25 years, you can visualize your ideal vacation now. So now that you've laid the groundwork before your vacation and you've enjoyed your time away, well, you can still come back and feel rested. Make a plan. You don't have to try to handle everything at work. You can set a list of priorities and catch up over time. Give yourself some time to get back and zone in. Reset your priorities and see what's the most important, and check in with yourself. As you resume work, ask if you're still fulfilling the intention you set for your vacation. Are you feeling more joyful, energized, or calm? And take moments to remember some of the best experiences of your trip and use those to guide yourself toward that intention. And when you do this, you'll start to notice and counteract some of the stress that's settling in. You'll remind yourself that your batteries are recharged and that you are up to the task. And I took the time to really write down and doodle about some and journal about some of the vacations that I did when my husband and I traveled before we had kids. And it's so nice to go back to those memories. And when times are tough or we're not sleeping well, I try to go back to some of these magical spaces in my mind, whether we were cross country skiing in Saskatchewan or camping in northern Manitoba, or some trips to Europe because we have a lot of family there. So we used to spend quite a bit of time in Europe. It's just a little bit far to travel from Edmonton. I used to live in Montreal. So that's that for tips for vacation. I'm going to look at the comments. Bonnie says removing the temptation from checking your devices, and you say you love the idea of being intentional on the purpose of the vacation. Yeah, I love Kristen. I know you said you're going to try to be intentional. I saw that. I think you have an RV, a different RV to work with, so that's very exciting for you. So we posted a couple of questions for you there about what's important for you in this time of your life. Before you go on a vacation, identify what's important for you at this stage of life and how you would more likely benefit from spending your money, whether it's on a longer, more intensive vacation that you've been saving up for, or spending that money on mini micro vacations during the year and treating yourself like that. And then finally, last poll, what is your must-have that you bring on every vacation? Is it a special purse or fanny pack, a travel neck pillow? Tell us your travel essentials here. I'm posting some questions, but let me know what you love bringing on vacation, or what you must bring with kids in terms of travel gear, your kind of top tip. And finally, when it comes to future live shows, we are still finalizing next week's topic, but we have so many goodies lined up for you, including many guest speakers. And, we're going to have a lawyer on how to choose one and work with one, and when you actually need to work with a lawyer during your life. We'll be interviewing an engineer turned teacher on how to give your kids thirst for learning at all stages of life and parents' role in education. We'll be talking to a mom of 4 boys who has a PhD in diversity and inclusion, and her research focus on how to recruit more Black students into universities. She's also a weight loss specialist, so she'll have a lot to tell us. We'll be talking to a doula about postpartum support. I'll also be talking about how to prep for mat leave and how managers can support their employees. So there's so much coming your way. We've got about a dozen topics that we're lining up for the next 3 months. And yes, and then our first Mom BA program cohort kicked off yesterday. It's fantastic. I'm so excited to work with multi-talented women with many of them have international experience and international careers, and they're so ambitious. And we are so excited to work with this first group. We're creating their customized, accelerated development journey and identifying their personal pillars of success. So that will completely accelerate and transform how they are showing up in their working mom lives and their relationships and their money, everything. And finally, save the date. In the week of August 17th, we have our next intensive workshop. So watch here. We'll be announcing it. We'll also be announcing it on our mailing list. The enrollment for the MomBee program is year-round. You can truly join at any time. We will onboard you. We have a fast track, but we are so excited to work with our first cohort in this really, really unique program in Canada. So thank you very much for everybody who joined us today. And I hope that you do have a good, restful vacation, whether it's a staycation, but I hope that you design an intent, and I hope that you create the circumstances in which you can meet those goals, especially spend precious, undistracted time with your kids, with your partner, possibly with friends or family, recharge those batteries, catch up on rest or sleep. I think that's one thing we really tend to neglect with vacations is instead of giving our bodies and souls the rest they need, we neglect that with young children, and we're not mentally prepared to do that. So I hope that you have a lovely vacation. I know we planned one with our family soon, so you might be seeing me from a different locations on some of these live shows, or I might have some people subbing and just like Kim did last week and interviewing our guests for us. So keep on staying active. Please share your mom wins. Please encourage other moms in the Facebook group. It's all about you and your wisdom. And again, reach out to me. I offer strategy sessions if you want to talk for 20 minutes to see which areas of your life you really want to have wins in, just cut through the clutter and see whether it's your relationships or your back to work plan or your relationships with your boss or your spouse or your kids. We can really take 20 minutes and make a huge shift in terms of what you can address next. Again, those 20-minute sessions, you can reach out to me or my team. We book them once in a while and save your spot. So have a great, great, great weekend. Thank you all.